Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Coming live from Fraper Heart, children of God. God. That's you. That's you. Hopefully you're children of God. Hopefully you're not children of the man that runs the underground. Because, let me tell you something. When I do those loud ones, like you better get to God now, trust me, I even question myself for a good 24 hours or more, and I'm like, I wonder if the paddy wagon's here yet. Now listen, not every time I do it, I'm going to say almost every time. I mean, this isn't like, I'm not doing this, okay? I'm doing like, Lord, please, could you just give me a little bit of understanding? Because they say God's his ways are not our ways, correct? And so then if we're being obedient, if we're trying our best to be obedient, none of us are perfect, by the way, then some things should have some clarity. And I was pretty upset with myself about those screaming videos again. So I erased them, I took them down, because, it's like, what is this? What's the target group here? Lord, is there at least like a target group? I mean, what are we doing here exactly? So then I'm like, today, a lot of my day today, or yesterday, because it's rained for 2 days, I woke up early. Lord, can you just be with me tonight? Well, it's really this morning in this midnight Christmas light thing going on. And had to get the poinsettias out. Actually, they lived a lot longer than I thought they would. Now she's dodging questions. Who's asking her questions? Nobody is. I'm asking myself questions. What the Lord is. I'm like, I know things are really starting to, things are really starting to close up on the earth. I don't know. I mean, everyone has a different way of perceiving or perception of things. I don't know if it's because I was like a lab rat in the hospitals and as a little girl, and people were just not aware of what was going on with me medically that were raising me or what, but I've had a lot of bizarreness. So, I mean, that could be why I'm a little extra, like, almost like a kitty cat or something, where I just sense things at another decibel. I'm not proud of it. It does not make life more normal. And so I did start to dig into Revelation, but they say most of Revelation already happened, or this is my new teacher's a good portion, but I think it's kind of all over the place, and I don't know why the Lord would do that, considering it's the last book of the Bible, and wouldn't we want a little more clarity to close up the events of mankind, humankind, as this earth as we know it? Okay, so where is she going here? I generally do not follow a lot of sensational news. Now there are. I mean, you can obviously call me out on. I really wanted some kind of solution with the Epstein case, the victims of Epstein, the girls that were just kept diligently trying over and over again. I think it was nearly a 20 plus year venture, obviously not that entire time, to get some kind of closure, resolution, justice served. And then, like, if you notice, everything also, really, we started to have a lot of extra upheaval of things. For instance, this is just me, and I could be wholly wrong. I was cutting vegetables and was careless. Actually, this one was pretty serious. And so we're going to be seeing that, where I'm kind of giving it extra care because the thing's going to bleed again. And so, and the Band-Aid's not stuck right, is, okay, so I don't try to follow, and if you were to try to follow all the most bizarre occurrences going on, you wouldn't have much time for much else going on in your life. And I really do just kind of want to get back to more of my life. Like, I don't think I'm online as much, or I just can't simply keep up. But I just want to just like go back to let's just fix the house up. And I'm not really being permitted to fully focus on that because, quite frankly, I do keep just getting a soft whisper of, all of that's just really not going to matter soon. Maybe it'll matter later, you know what I mean? It's not that we shouldn't get the flooring up, do you know what I mean? And spiffs, we're slowly chipping away. What are we doing right now? I wanted to look up the times people were hiding. Not hiding in a good way in the Bible, meaning they were trying to hide from God. They were trying to run away from God. They had some kind of secret thing going on, secret societies, right? And I delve into that stuff sometimes. And I don't want to appear or seem that I'm being overly judgmental, because I actually start to wonder sometimes if I don't have somehow got in some kind of Orthodox Jewish group on their shit list, because I can't get into all the details of that, but it seems that seems to be one of the groups who, I don't know what I must have tapped into at what points in time. I've done my share of documentary research. Some of the more groups that are, and I'm going to put this with any other group, those smaller sects, some of them, the sects, meaning SECT, some can get really bizarre. You can find that in the Mormons, just very underground, seedy abuses and perversions. Usually the targets are children and women. And so this tunnel thing is going to have it will have, as far as I know, it has the entire, within 24 hours or less, finding these. And it's what it is that there's tons of tunnels under all the cities. And that is to make someone question, was it for protection? Was it during times of literally protecting people? Or for me, when you think of large cities, you think of a lot of seedy, just what are the foundations of a city? And I don't trust that most of these tunnels have a wholesome history, but the fact that this particular sect, like I said, this particular group had these tunnels, and but they were still creating these tunnels, and they're, as far as I know, I'm already not capable of finding. One of the last newscasts was 7 hours or so ago. And I'm like, I already can't find enough to make much sense of nothing. So it's already being hidden, okay? But isn't it bizarre? Not even bizarre, but I see this as a God thing. And I don't do this anymore. I was in a charismatic thing for a brief time where you're constantly looking for a sign of something, and it gets so very hocus pocusy. But I think if things are kind of layering, where it's like, okay, they got the list out, right? But a lot of us knew, how is this list even going to be presented of the Epstein thing? Where is she going? Why were these tunnels being recently built? It's completely illegal. It's very unsafe. Something about it going between different corridors of this segregated way of the female Orthodox Jews and the male, and they have like the bathing area, and it's for, and here is where I need to ask the Lord for wisdom. Some of these groups, and like I said, I have literally watched individual, these were during my times of why Lord, the Orthodox Jews, they still are refusing Jesus. I mean, these things that I was studying, we would go back 20 years or so. Because I was finding such error in the church, and I was having difficulty staying strong in the modern evangelical church. And then it was like, because our brains are so limited, I would be like, so do I just leave Jesus? Do I have to find a new religion? I mean, they say that this is the modern Christian church, right, of Jesus Christ. Well, now we know that's not what's been really going on. But what were these tunnels? And is this news going to be completely just shoved aside? And I felt like God was starting to show me this thing where he was literally going to start bringing more stuff up to the surface, right? And so all these hidden corridors and these hidden seedy places. And when I said I watched these documentaries, was that there was these certain sects of the Jewish communities, these groups, and it's on the order of a lot of the Catholic groups, like, you could go murder a bunch of people Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if you're a mafia or cartel pinhead, and then go to confession and God and the priest will cleanse your sins, that's not good, you know what I mean? The one report was that there was some questionable objects in these tunnels. But see, a lot of these were new construction, and the only reason it came to light was because someone living in just a normal area heard something. And lo and behold, this Orthodox group was just taking it upon themselves to build these tunnels underneath their synagogue or nearby to connect whatever. What is going on? And then the men were fighting with the police, the Jewish Orthodox, and I was like, God, is this our target group? Is this why I randomly just start yelling that you better find Jesus now, as if the core group that I'm yelling at knows that they should not be denying God this long, and that they have the worst hellfires heaped on their head for thousands of years of denying something that was in their face. These secret corridors, these secret groups. And so I wanted to find in Revelation where they were trying to hide and he pulled them out, and that maybe that situation had already occurred. But why is it also that I just, without me even trying, I'm not sitting down trying to do a seance with Jesus all day long. I literally go about my business and pray with the Lord. And then there might be one part of the day or evening where I rest and the sober part of my days, and I just focus on the Lord. Not with a expected expectation of knowledge or a situation to be brought to mind. Is why are they already hiding this news of the corridors? And I think what we're going to find is God is just literally going to start. Another report about NYC is these sinkholes, these small sinkholes that literally go down into these old tunnels. The Epstein thing, what are they? They're just frying that up like it ain't nothing. But I know there's enough diligent journalists. They'll keep prying at that can. They'll get that can in order. But see what will happen next. Because I myself see a direct correlation between those girls with their lawsuit. Some panic starts to happen. Societal panic, like, holy Lord, what? It's like we know that there's, and then some people were dropping like flies, getting killed. As far as I know, by the Orthodox, like the gangster types. Out in LA, these kids that were raised in the industry, a couple of more were coming out in confessionals, not necessarily in the Orthodox. They may have left, but were killed. They were killed, but it was labeled as a suicide. And I want to know if the spiders within the Orthodox are going to finally acknowledge Jesus. Because God keeps ripping you up out of the earth. Keeps exposing, he's blowing stuff up everywhere to expose the truth. And then the media, and then just tries to cover it back. How many times do you think however this is orchestrated, evil ones, and I don't mean on you, the groups, I mean evil ones, Satan, the one that has the power to do these things, how many times are you going to keep trying to cover it up? God is going to keep exploding it, like it's currently been going. This tunnel thing, let's just forget about the history of that there's so many tunnels under the cities. But isn't that strange too? Because so many cities in America are just completely destroyed. They're just, like, you wouldn't even want to drive through most of them now. So this prayer is for the Orthodox. How much more do you want Creator God to blow up, to expose, before you finally lay on your face and you acknowledge Jesus Christ as your Savior, as the Savior, as the Son of Man? that the Messiah was already here. He came, he showed himself, and then he went back up with his Father. Thousands of years of following the same stuff, denying, and then the arrogance. I was reading one account where some of the Orthodox in Israel or Jerusalem spitting on Christian women. Let me tell you what. All of you know, I mean, you're the oldest groups of DNA. I have a little bit. I don't know how true it is. Who knows how you get the right test done. But I have a little bit of, well, too many heritages that I was never informed of, if it's even fully accurate, is. So I feel I have a little bit of a right to say these things. Is, your forefathers, your fathers, rabbis, know of Creator God's power. So why are you playing with fire? Tea. So out of all the groups, one of the main ones, Moses' father, all of them. There's no other group, heritage, DNA, blood, whatever we want to call it, who knows more than anything the power of Creator God. So since you're God's original people, granted that's not what we go by in New Testament, but wouldn't you think that you would finally wake up before you take the whole world down with you to hell? And the groups that have enough power to cover up information so that none of us can piece stuff together properly, woe to you. Woe to you. This tunnel thing may just be one of those most bizarre, outlandish weirdnesses, but it just seems like a strange timing, doesn't it? A pathetically small portion of the Black Book of Epstein. And this is something that we need to realize too. Seedy, nasty, horrible things like that, where men are determined to burn in hell because they like to have sex with little girls, make little girls do things that they don't want to do, but they feel scared and forced. Y'all burn the worst. By the way, I mean, that has to be one of the worst. It has to be the worst groups. You burn. So dementedly horrible. In the most horrible way. I mean, all right. But see, there has to be layers to something like a sex operation like that. So we need to take that into consideration. When we see a list like that, and we see these major names, which, I mean, some should just be kind of like a given. Like, the one, it was like, not even like, it didn't even faze me, which that's alarming. That Alex guy, the Baldwins, and, like, that was just like, oh, well, that's, just need, like, they're all, maybe he just lives there, is, those groups, it's like, it's not really a shocker, right? I mean, they've been trying to nail the Clintons forever. I mean, I just figure we all just know they're just protected, right? But see, we have to realize too is when you have an organized thing like that, they have to have layers of cover, okay? So just because Kate Blanchett or some other random person visits, we can't just assume that they knew. I mean, you know, they might have went one time and were like, whoa, this is kind of weird. You know, we can't do that. Okay, so no, that's where we got to really get our thinking caps on. And someone that can be very led by emotion, but it's taken years of training with the Lord to try to tie in not only feeling, but thinking and analysis and put it all together with Jesus is, you have to realize there has to be so many layers and covers to that type of operation. And so, yeah, there might be the perverts back in the back of the mansion with the little ones, the teenage girls, but then you're going to have like just a normal party or people just visiting. They're like, oh, this is cool. We're here at the mansion. And then, wow, this was a fun trip. And then they're on the list. So we can't just automatically assume every single name that we were to see to appear. Now, if it's coming from people where we have our heart ties, our strings, we're looking from the outside, looking in as best as possible, through the mirage of lies and covers up and deceit, is we're going to immediately be like, who would ever go there with this guy? Because that's just how the elites work. Not everyone that hangs out with the elite pedophiles that are the pedophiles are pedophiles, okay? Like I said, there's got to be covers upon covers and blackmail upon blackmail. Meaning like, oh, your name is on the list too. So if you even sense or get a hint of something haywire, your name's on here too. See? Okay. So what I want to know is why this tunnel, there's got to be more of that going on, but what was that about? And why was there a nasty old cot and a baby's high chair? Like all of that just gets a little strange. And that could be fabricated information. It said that there was a soiled cot and a baby chair, and then there was some other bizarre random stuff. But yet they were just constructing the tunnel, so that's a lie. And then the other guy said, a rabbi or something said, no, it's been going on a year. And then lo and behold, I'm having a hard time finding what I need, which I think because my stuff does get blocked a lot, is this was a big spiel to say, it's very clearly stated in the Bible, and there's been more than one character who, when they were trying to hide from God. I, on the other hand, when I say, is there any caves available for sale? I'm not hiding from God. I just need to be able to have a place with some peace to do the Lord's work without a bunch of monsters all the time on my skirt tails. I'm not trying to hide from God. I'm trying to hide from these organized crime networks. That for some bizarre reason, I'm being used like in a double way, like get her to kill herself, drink herself to death, put her in the middle of the organized crime networks, don't let them move her. They need to move to have peace and quiet so that she can retain the little bit of sanity she has left from all the medical malpractices and the fact that part of her family was in on some sort of local or even bigger cartel rings, because they were. And whatever two businesses merged or separated back in the day, I had one photo that I stumped upon, and it was definitely a transport service. And it was semi-related, and that's as far as I'm going to go. And it's funny because they sent out Anne saying, do you know where that picture went? Because it's probably like the only last remaining proof of this operation. And I'm not going to talk about it no more because I didn't want to be born into that. And I tried to get out a long time ago. Okay? And so I didn't know nothing of that was going on. They keep someone like me completely scattered and distraught with legal and issues and police following you and stalkers and harassers so that you can't think straight. And then it just got to the point where the old members of whatever just were like, we just got to kill her. We're just going to kill her at Brentwood. We got to get the boy, blackmail the boy, get him so scattered and confused and fucked up, even to the point thinking that we don't love him and all this crap that was done. Let me tell you what, when it all comes down to it, God knows people's hearts. And I'm telling you what, those of you that have been involved in some seedy shit involving human trafficking and hiding dead bodies and removing dead bodies and illegal abortions and using all of this stuff that is so disgusting in the sight of God, he's gonna keep bringing it up. And when you think that you can cover this one area, he's going to blow it up over here. And when you think you're going to cover that information over here of hidden situations of victims, he's going to have this other thing come flying up. So guess what? Have fun. Keep trying to keep it all down. Because by the time you think that you're going to keep all this information down that God's bringing up, he's going to blow it all up.